You reading, Amy?
Not yet.
Okay. Should be playing some
You
elevator.
should be all set.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. Today is October 16th, 2024. My name is Amy Paretsky, and I'm the chair of the Design Review Committee. This open meeting of the Design Review Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency signed into law on March 29th, 2023. Hopefully that's the latest date. All members of the Design Review Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The act allows the Design Review Committee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lisa Maselli,
Here,
Mark McMenamy,
Here.
and staff, Lori Connors.
Here.
And I don't know if Michelle wants to answer. She can give us a thumbs up.
I'm here.
Okay, let's see. We have no presenters, so I won't go into that. It is now 9:03. And we have a couple things on the agenda today. We have the design review guidelines have been tweaked. And Michelle, I think it was you that did some updates to the formatting of the design review committee. Of the design review guidelines. I'm not sure what we want to start with.
Why don't I share? Actually, it's not coming up for whatever reason. As an option. Let me close out of some of my stuff here so that I can pull up Michelle's changes. So one moment. Yeah, it should be there.
See.
I wonder if it's because I opened it up before I opened the meeting. So let me try and open it again. So one moment. There it is. Can everybody see this?
I see. Yep.
Okay, great. All right, so one of the things that Michelle and I were talking about is maybe seeing if we could modernize the formatting. And I know, Lisa, you had prepared a different cover, so it'd be very easy for us to put in alternative pictures. This is just kind of a sample.
Okay.
So this is usually using a, I think Michelle is a publisher.
Yep. Just
software.
publisher, nothing fancy.
Yep. And so there are various templates that we could utilize. So don't worry so much about the content. It was more just to kind of get your feedback on the layout. One of the things that we could do is kind of like the Medway design. If you remember, they put the photo, so they put the font in a smaller section of the page. So kind of like all of the text was on one side of the page, and then they put pictures on the right-hand side of the page, if it was on, in some cases, they'd put it on the left-hand side of the page, in other cases, they'd put it on the right-hand side of the page, which I kind of liked. I thought it looked neater personally, to do that rather than just have them all at the bottom, especially in places where we had multiple pages of text, but the pictures were way at the bottom. So we could be like talking about the specific subject, and then the picture relating to that subject, maybe 2 or 3 pages down the line. So just hoping to get your feedback on this layout that Michelle put together. Is this something you like? You know, what do you think of the color scheme? Any feedback at all would be helpful.
Well, I like the modernization, and I do like what you said about the Medway. I like that format because then you can place your pictures probably closer to the paragraph being talked about, or drawings, you know, like remember how they had like a pencil drawings on some things that were a little bit easier to understand from a, you know, perspective of architecture, where you're just looking at the actual, whether it's a blueprint or just a hand drawing of the building. And I think, I mean, I think it's great that we're coming into everything's upgrading it and making it, you know, kind of, we could make everything look the same really when you think about it. But let the other two speak. I do, you know, I like that thought.
Yeah,
Mark,
I don't have any problems with it. I think I'm perfectly willing to go back, and when we settle on all of the buildings we're going to use, I can go back and do line drawings based on them.
It's true.
I have, I have a table set up, and I am a draftsman, so
Excellent.
I mean, say I couldn't really find much of anything I had any strong objection to.
Yeah, I think the photographs are the harder things, because when you put it in, well, I printed it out actually, hold on.
Yeah, if I do drawings, I can come back and put detail where we want people to focus, and then kind of leave, you know, less intensify the other areas.
Yeah.
I know one thing that we had talked about last time is maybe, because in some places, like particularly when we get to signs, we had so many like encouraged pictures and no discouraged pictures. So have you folks thought about whether you want to stick with the discouraged pictures or just go with the encouraged pictures? Thoughts on that?
Well, I think again, if this is a guideline, I think you have to kind of give guidance. So I agree. Probably we should maybe change the word discouraged, or you know what I mean. That sounds rather maybe out of compliance or something. And again, that would be a separate, you know, examples of, and go through a full page of that. And looking at graphically speaking and printing wise, we have to decide too how much color we really want to put in. I think that might be another consideration, because if you print these and you're going to send them out, well, I know today changes though. God, everything's so different than when I was doing this on a day-to-day basis. I personally, when I'm looking at the open space page and you've got the block in the, you know, goes to the left, it should be either centered or dragged across to be as large as the one that goes under setbacks and buffer areas, because of balance when you're visualizing it like that. I think one of the things we were taught was, you know, you only use 3 different fonts in the whole product, and you shouldn't use too many different colors. You want to keep things as a, you know, useful in the same color scheme. So if you look at those 2 pages together, you've got the setbacks and buffer areas looking different than the open space just because of those two graphs alone. Is that what you call them? So you'd either put district in maroon on both or district in khaki on both. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I do.
Okay. I definitely like the index. I think the index is what we really need. A lot of things should have that because people aren't going to necessarily look through the whole thing if they don't need to.
Amy, you've been quiet.
Say again?
Amy?
Oh, yeah, Amy must have, maybe she's,
Yeah.
Maybe
I
she's-
had to let someone out the door, but I agree. I just ran away for a second, but I was listening to what everybody was saying and I agree with what they're saying. I think it looks really great. Thanks, Michelle. And but I do think I like what you guys were talking about, how Medway has the writing on one side and the pictures on the other, so it lines up. So I'm pretty much in agreement with what everybody was saying.
Okay, great. Well, now that you folks have given us the green light, we'll perfect it. One of the things, well, of course, when we go into the track changes version, I'm sure you noticed that the formatting is a complete mess at this point because we've made so many changes and then the pictures don't line up, but of course, it's a challenge to format them. And then when we eliminate the track changes, the pictures are all gonna be in a different place anyway and have to be reformatted. So I was thinking that when we are ready to pull the trigger on the document, we can have a clean version with all of the pictures nicely formatted in the new format that Michelle's working on. And then we can have a stripped down version that shows where the text has changed. So that'll be a track changes version. And so that people can see where the text has changed and where it's the same. And it will be cleaner and easier for people to read. Are you folks okay with that?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, maybe the word that not worry about the format at all, but just put the changes of words that you want.
Yeah.
Right. That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying, because it really is getting unmanageable at this point, because we've also added, the entire signage section and the awning section. And then, of course, today I was hoping that we could discuss the New England text and the new sustainability text. So there's going to be many pages where all of the text is red, underlined. Yeah. Okay, well, let me stop sharing this unless anybody has any last minute comments on Michelle's new design.
So, well, I love it, but are we going to go back a little bit more like Medway? Is that what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, that's certainly we can change those pictures and change the text. So we'll give Michelle the Medway layout so
Okay.
she can duplicate that.
Okay. And then maybe Mark and I can work on drawings and this is after we get all the body information. And then we can help put that part together.
Yep. Absolutely.
Lori, will there be another section too for multifamily? We have the new MBTA, or maybe that falls under duplex. Maybe it would be the same as duplexes. But maybe I think we had talked about giving some examples somewhere.
Certainly I can add a section on multifamily if you want.
Just because I think they come before design review too, right? And I see a lot of new ones that are like blocky and modern, and in my opinion, I don't think they would look as good.
And aren't they supposed to still fit in the neighborhood, or are we talking about downtown?
No, I think they should still fit in the neighborhood, even if downtown, it should look like it belongs in the downtown.
Mm.
But some examples might help too, for what we're looking for.
Right. Okay.
All right, so now I'm going to share the other document. All right. It just popped over to my other screen. Are you seeing the other document, or are you seeing the one that I had up previously?
We see the other one.
Okay, good. Okay, so of course this index is completely messed up at this point. I didn't bother fixing that. I did change some more of the language in the purpose.
Okay.
So I went again through the zoning bylaw to make sure that I was capturing everything that triggered design review. So there were a few more things that I noticed that hadn't been captured previously. So one of the things that I was thinking about is, do you think it would be, do you like it in paragraph form, or would you prefer me to kind of do a bulleted list? Would that be easier to understand?
With all the things that design review has to review, you mean, like the list
Yeah.
of? I guess
Well,
I'd have to see it. It might be easier because it would lay it out, it would pop out on the page. You could see exactly, okay, this person, that person, you have to go through design review. But then is it too busy because we have bullets and then numbers below it?
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I had done it this way originally.
yeah, I think you're right. You can't do bullets and then the numbers below. It would
Yeah,
take
I-
too much of the page to begin with, but
When I read through this, I thought it was fine the way it is.
Okay.
especially.
I did add a new bullet, actually 2 new bullets that we hadn't had before. So one was this protect and restore the historic character of downtown Northborough.
I like that.
Yeah, good one.
Okay, and then number 5, encourage development that is both sustainable and resilient to climate change. So I added that because of course that was a big thing in the master plan.
I definitely like it. What would resilient mean?
So that means, like, for example, if you have, like the fire station. So they're proposing to put rooftop solar, and then they're also proposing to do the geothermal in the building. So that makes it more resilient as far as you'd have the backup power through the solar, and it's obviously sustainable and more of an eco-friendly source of electricity. And they do also have the EV charging stations, which are going to be required by law. They are required by law anyway.
Yeah, in knowing that, I understand the sustainability I just want to know, I mean, the term resilient to me is something that, when I go out and it's winter time and the heavier coat I have, the more resilient I am to the cold. Do you know what I mean? I wonder
Yeah.
if it's not a different word we could use.
Yeah, because I was reading this, at the same time I'm watching hurricanes on the news, so I was thinking resilient to the
Right.
increased storms.
Yeah,
Well,
that's just.
there are a couple of design elements as well, like for example, street trees. So street trees have the benefit of providing shade. So it cools the downtown location if there are a lot of street trees in the downtown. The street trees also would absorb rainwater, so they reduce flooding, and they provide habitat for critters. Another resilience tool is to do rain gardens, so that's something that we discuss further on in the document. So instead of using your classic catch basin to manhole to detention basin, you just do the rain gardens, which filter out contaminants and absorb rainwater. So resiliency is actually a buzzword that is very common today in development circles.
Huh.
So the engineers and the designers will understand that word.
Because I'm looking it up now. It's just capable of returning to an original shape or position as having been compressed, synonym, able to recover readily from misfortune, leaping back, rebounding, recoiling. So sometimes architects like to use words that they take a word and choose what definition they're going to put on it. And I think maybe that's what we're doing now with resilient, where again, I think more of the building envelope, what, you know, the materials that are made on it when I hear that. So I think I'd like to try to find something that means more about, you know, working with climate change, or there's got to be, I think there should, I don't know. I think there would be another word. I just see it and go, oh, resilient. Okay. So,
This isn't the final, so you could think about it and
yeah,
then.
let me kind of try do a little bit of work, because sustainable, everybody knows. Oh, yep, sustainable is a great thing. All right, well, we won't belabor that, but that is a button of interest.
All right, so yeah, you just think about it and let me know an alternative word you'd like to use. Okay, so this is my attempt at trying to define New England village character for the town of Northborough. So I thought a good way to do this is kind of set the stage with a little bit talking about the history of Northborough Center. And then I spent quite a bit of time going through historic photographs as well as historic maps to see what downtown Northborough looked like 100+ years ago. And actually, that was a really, really fun exercise because the town does have a history of a compact downtown with a number of buildings that were 3 stories in height, and very typical of the downtowns that you see throughout the region. So now, of course, a number of those buildings were lost due to fire, and then they were rebuilt in kind of more of a sprawling fashion, a lot of single-story buildings. So the way the downtown looks today is quite different from the way it looked 100 years ago. So I was trying to kind of articulate what I understand that you folks are looking for. And then I thought it would be good to identify some samples of good design and good adaptive reuse of existing buildings. So I identified 4 examples. But before we move on to that, what do you folks think of this narrative? Are you okay with it? Is there anything you'd like to change? Do you think I hit the mark or missed the mark?
I think I'd like to actually go through it and send you some changes. I think, you know, overall, you did a lot of listing of architectural styles, and some of those are subsets of others. So I think we could word that a little clearer, you know, to streamline it. I think right up the bat, though, we're not founded in 1775. That we're incorporated in 1775. But we use 1766 as the established date on the signs when you enter the town. You know, we have parades and stuff on that date. So,
Um,
I think I actually got that from Northborough, Massachusetts Historic Preservation.
yes, that is
Plan.
the correct incorporation date. But if you look at the signs when you're entering Northborough, it says established 1766.
Okay.
so either
So you
change
want me
it,
to say established in 1776?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and of course, we were here long before that as part of Westboro.
that's right, and
So are you sure it's 1776 and not 1775?
1766. Remember a couple of years ago, we had the parade for the 250th?
oh, we're gonna have that again soon.
Well, we typically have done them in like 1966 and, you know, in 50-year increments of that date, not the 1775.
Okay.
I wonder if, could you break it up into more than like just the three and a half paragraphs? It's a lot to read. So like give it more paragraph in between.
Okay. Do you have suggestions on where that would be?
Where the breaks are.
Always go
And I
through
could
and
do
send
it.
it back too.
We could go through. I mean, like am I reading it when I go to the word, the first paragraph, I would split it at the center of Northborough developed during the 19th and 20th centuries. And, you know, as a reader and you're going through it, it's almost like when you take a breath. And so I, you know, again, I'm looking at it on a screen and on a paper, so that's harder for me, but, you know what I mean? It gives a little bit of breathing time. So you read it and you have a little thought and you don't feel this, I've got to, you know, rush through this paragraph. And that's probably a little bit more specific than most people do, but,
Are you okay with me doing
Just-
it here during the second half of the 19th century? Because the sentences after that
yeah,
speak to that first sentence.
yeah. And, yeah, less these, the center, the arrival, that sort of thing's good. We have civic center. Could we use a different word than civic? And I'm gonna ask you, Mark, what,
Yeah, that confused me too. Civic Center means something different today.
So of course, what I meant by that is, I mean, I could say institutional center. So of course, there are churches.
How
And
about-
then there's public buildings. So there's, you know, the library, the fire station, the town hall.
Right, gathering places. So
yeah,
it's just because Civic Center has come to mean something different now. You know, so social center, gathering place. But I mean, I know those aren't good either, but community center.
yeah, social community center, either one of those, because, you know, farmers would come in to do their things when, you know, they had the opportunity. What I found out, which was kind of interesting, is they used to have their only events in the evenings when there was a full moon, because they didn't have any way to light their paths and things. So they would do everything around the moon, and it's a necessity to shed light. Okay. Yeah.
Me, I just have to read it carefully because I mean, it's not your fault, Lori. We didn't have, town hall wasn't open on Monday, but we got it yesterday. Then I had planning board, so I started to read it, but it was like 11 o'clock last night.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you guys can give me track changes. It would be helpful if you do track changes. Just so I can see, because if I'm getting 3 different sets of track changes, obviously I'll have to blend them together, so.
Yeah, okay. And I just wanted to, part of the second, what was the second paragraph when it was to, let's find the first center, planning processes associated with the production of the 2020 master plan and the 2024 downtown revitalization report captured how people feel about the downtown Northborough today. Because of the controversy that we had with the revitalization plan, I don't think that we should really put that part in. I'd keep it with just the master plan, because I attended all the meetings, and in all the meetings it was pretty quiet. There wasn't a lot of support for the Tale of Three Cities. And I think that even though we want to try to get some sort of a housing situation together, I don't want people to feel that plan was wholeheartedly applauded by the people of Northborough. I think that we had two people that said they liked it, and they're apartment dwellers. But all in all, there was a lot of pushback. So I don't think by putting it into the book, it's true. I think it's
Yeah, it is a bit controversial. I mean, I know personally probably 10 to 1 that didn't like it, but weren't going to say it because they're polite.
Mm.
But that doesn't mean it was bad. Parts of it were actually excellent. So
Right. But it's just the controversial part, and I would feel.
I really think that it's important that we mention this planning process, because there are some recommendations that came out of that plan report that we're acting on. So I don't think you can just say that it doesn't exist.
well,
So,
a lot of people
but part
disagree
of
with
the
what.
change, the update of the design guidelines came out of that planning process. So this paragraph isn't saying that we're going forward with the vision in the 2024 downtown revitalization plan report. What it's saying is that there was a community outreach effort, and then there were opinions that came out of that. And it had to do with how people feel about the downtown. And that is true. I mean, at that first meeting, we had, 80 people who came and provided a lot of feedback on how they feel about the downtown. And what came out of that was essentially that most people were unsatisfied with the way it looks today and operates.
Yeah, that's true, but it does not. I went to all those meetings, and the work was, you worked hard. We had a lot of new ideas come up the pike. The downtown area, as much as we are putting a lot of energy into it, has never been the draw for people to come and move to Northborough, and it's their education and their children. And as soon as most of their children are through high school, they're gone. The town didn't prevent the downtown's parents did not prevent them from coming here and buying homes because they wanted something different. They weren't looking for the hub of arts and entertainment and such. So as much as we'd like to see it different, there wasn't as big a call for it as we've placed on it. And cleaning it up, making it look more uniform is definitely something everybody wanted. But I don't, whatever we write, nobody can imagine what we thought of when we wrote the copy. You're not behind them saying, well, this is what it means, and this is why I said this. That's not going to get out to anybody. It's like whatever you write, everybody has their own understanding of it, whether it's true or not. Like the Civic Center. When I heard read Civic Center, I thought of Worcester, the Worcester Civic Center, just because I've heard that word so often. When you're putting something down in a hard copy that's backed by the town, supported by the town, it has to be an equal and fair rendition of what really has gone on. And it's been a a tug of war for sure. But we keep going back to the master plan. Everything is done because of the master plan. And yet many people have not even read the master plan. It took how many years, Amy? 3 tries just to get the master plan finally accepted. But when the revitalization plan came, it was not met with the excitement that everybody had hoped of. And there was a lot of pushback. And I'm not comfortable by putting that in without some sort of a caveat, because I don't, I've had enough people come to me and say, we don't want that. We don't want this. We don't want that.
Yeah, yeah, I think they determined early on that traffic was outside the scope of the project. And that's what most people care about.
So what you're saying is you have a problem with the sentence, participants felt strongly that Northborough's New England village character as epitomized by noteworthy historic buildings should be celebrated, preserved, and carefully considered as future development occupies the downtown area. And historic buildings are renovated and expanded, because that's what I'm saying came out of these planning processes.
Yeah, it's not that sentence is not the one I had some problems with. Although I think you should add, you mentioned on the previous page about restoring. I think some of the historic buildings we've had, at least architecturally, would be nice to see restored downtown.
Yeah,
I think the problem is just with the master plan or the revitalization plan report.
but I'm not
mean-
saying that this is the vision that we need to go forward with. I'm just saying that we went through a year plus visioning process. I mean, how do we completely ignore that $150,000 report that was just completed less than a year ago? Like, how do we
I
not
think-
mention that?
Because the
I
report,
would think you want to use that as an example of what not to do. I
Right.
mean, they literally tore down CVS and put apartment buildings. I
right,
mean, that went over, that was, got rid of parking downtown because people shouldn't be driving. That's how it was perceived. I mean, the Blake Street stuff is excellent though. Even the Harvey property stuff was excellent, and the stuff across the street, wasn't bad, could be a lot better.
But
It
in
was-
that report, there was a survey that people filled out. So what I'm talking about is what
well-
people feel about the downtown that came out of that visioning process.
Yeah,
And what people
I read
said
that
is
as,
they're not happy with the way the downtown looks and operates. So
right, but I read
that is
that
what
as
I'm
you guys,
capturing in that sentence.
I agree
Yeah,
with Mark. I agree with Mark. I think that it would be better to either say,
We could highlight that sentence and think about how in between this meeting and next meeting, you can think about how you want it reworded.
well, I like the participants felt strongly about the New England character. I don't have a problem with that.
yeah,
That paragraph is fine. And the planning process associated with the production of such and such and such and such captured how people feel about the downtown today. But honestly, yes, it captured how they felt, but we're not telling you, by going then to participants felt strongly about the village character. I didn't see a lot of village character in the revitalization report personally. I like the village character. That's what people asked for, but I didn't see it in that report. And even though there's some things in the report, and we paid $150,000, that kills me. It absolutely kills me. But Northborough has gone through. We paid Judy Barrett to do our design review booklet, and guess what? We're not using what Judy did. So that's not the reason.
If you go into the downtown revitalization report, what I recommend is that you read the section on community outreach. So
I understand.
it talks about the findings in the community outreach, and that's what this says. That's why
right, but
this sentence, because of so there's that whole section on stakeholder and public engagement. And
Right,
then,
but we were part of that. We were part of the outreach things. We went to the meetings. We said different things. We put different stickers on different things. And when they interpreted that, as far as me and my relatives and friends that have gone to it, we felt it was totally mischaracterized. You know, we talked about how we liked walking paths and stuff like that. Well, we didn't want walking paths around apartment buildings. We wanted walking paths, you know, things like that. I mean, and then traffic and parking are the two biggest thing. And if we were to do a Pareto chart on what's wrong with downtown, that's number one and number two. Number three is no place to go, but
well, this is a design guideline book. So what I'm
Right.
trying to do is capture how people feel about the downtown and, you know, so we're telling people that we want them to build in a certain way. So what I'm trying to do is make the connection between what people said in those planning processes and the recommendations that fall in this report.
I understand
As far
that.
as how things should be built, like where the parking goes, the signage, the facade materials, the windows, the awnings.
Those things were not addressed in the revitalization plan. They were asking to use the parking in CVS. That you can't take the parking from CVS, it's a private thing. The stakeholders, I went to the business one, and there were less than 8 businesses at that meeting. 8. And that included people and I was one of the 8 that was there. So it's not fair to act like we got a really great cross-section of people and we got a really good participation rate. For the downtown, we got a horrible thing for that. And the stakeholders didn't have, you know, they didn't really care. I mean, I was there. I was at that meeting. We can't make it sound like we did all this good stuff and we came up with this. The bigger complaint I have is that it gives the reader the feeling that everybody was in agreement with this report. That's the feeling you get when you read it. It doesn't mean you didn't do all this work and you didn't go through this whole exercise because that's what you were instructed to do, is go through the exercise. The result was not what people wanted. And the master plan is a collection of what people asked for, and it was put in. But the revitalization plan did not do that. It did not listen. And I don't feel that it's something that we should enhance. You could just take out that one, the report, and leave everything else. You could say, you know, or make a note to how the report captured the feeling that meant they didn't want a tale of 3 cities. But we can't keep going down the road acting like nobody was listened to, and that, well, we spent the money and this is what the architects told us to do. I don't care what they told us to do. It wasn't Northborough.
But I understand that you may not like, but I did not hear that was the overall consensus of.
Oh, that's
that
the,
was definitely the
50
overall consensus.
Some odd people that attended.
You don't want to hear it, but that was the overall consensus. I
I
mean,
do think I agree because that's what came out of our executive summary. Even our master plan implementation committee was torn about the downtown plan. And behind like the scenes, everybody's talking about how it wasn't what Northborough wanted. But even at our meetings, it was torn on, you know, the parking wasn't, they took Blake Street and made a big green park. But that takes away more parking, which is what we have needed. And the whole area downtown where like Richdale Farms is and stuff, people do want that redone, but there is a lot of historical homes there too. They didn't want a big, huge, like mall-like atmosphere down there, more of a village, like we're talking about, like what Lisa said, is people all along have wanted a walkable downtown, but more village-like and not blown up with these big buildings.
yeah, I think one of the comments was that, you know, we're basically trying to make downtown Northborough look like we're a mill town, and we're not a mill town. We had a few mills along the Assabet, But, you know, I know one of the housing themes was to take old mills, well, and convert them into housing. Well, we built old mill looking things, and that's not the idea. I
But
mean, we
there's
wanted to,
nothing in this report that talks about the Weston and Sampson vision for the downtown. All I'm talking about, all this is saying is it's talking about what people said about the downtown, the current character of the downtown
Right, and you're not
Which
listening to us.
was
That's
in
the
the
point.
survey. Like this information was in the survey responses.
right, but traffic was number one, wasn't it?
But we're not talking, this is a design guideline book. We're not talking about traffic.
Right, but you're referencing something that people strongly disagree with. So, I mean,
So
this whole
they
thing,
strongly disagree with this sentence.
No,
That's what I'm
not-
asking you.
Is that sentence actually in that report?
well, the sentence right here, the 2004 Downtown Revitalization Report, you should
Right.
not reference that.
Right, you shouldn't reference it.
So I shouldn't, we should all pretend that that planning effort never occurred.
Oh, more than that, you should like have you know, a burning or something of that report. I mean, that's a little strong,
Thanks.
I mean, use it,
Okay.
I think they didn't, it was more of a cookie cutter that could have plopped on any town, but it didn't really fit our town. And even when they had the person that came in that said what type of businesses that would make our town vibrant, the original ideas he came up with were like luggage stores. Like we have TJ Maxx, which no one's gonna go to a luggage store downtown. And his original one said box stores, and it's like our community development plan said no big box stores downtown. So I do feel that there were questions with the 2024 downtown plan, unfortunately. But I think you should leave the sentence you had in
Right.
about the village character. Maybe we'll go back. Like this can be another thing that, you know, we're seeing this for the first time today. It just came out yesterday. Everybody can go home and think about how they feel about the sentence and how would they change it to make it capture. Because I think Lori's reading it one way and you guys are reading it a different way. It's not that, it sounds like you want to be on the same page about the village character, but just the way the sentence reads is not what you're getting from the sentence. It doesn't read
Well, no,
what
that,
Lori is trying to say.
yeah, no, the sentence is perfect. Participants felt strongly about the village character. Yes, that's an absolute fact. And I want to keep that in there. I feel like Mark does. I don't want to refer because somebody's going to go, oh, I want to see what the downtown revitalization plan was. They're not going to just leave it at that. They're going to go and research it. And then in the case of, I'm going to use this example of when we wanted the drive-through ice cream palace, can't use the word palace, but you know, it wasn't what people wanted, but but it worked in, you know, it took the definition of what was there as, well, that it's supposed to go with the neighborhood. Well, when you want to upgrade the neighborhood, why do you want to go back down to go with the neighborhood? So that's why I'm saying what you put in is very important. People, if an architect wants to change something and comes in and he says, well, this is what the revitalization plan report said, and now you're telling us that's not what we can do, that's where you start to run into problems. And if it was something that was, you know, more in keeping with the community and the way the community, you know, imagines itself, then I wouldn't have the problem with it. But the report itself, it's very big, it's very, you know, it's extensive. But when I look at that report, I don't see the feeling of participants wanting a village character with that book. That book would show village character. And
yeah, that's a Milltown character, not village or agricultural village character.
So that's the takeaway.
So
I wish
moving on. The next paragraph, did you folks have an issue with what I wrote here? Or do you just want to like review it on your own and then we'll talk about it after you've reviewed it?
Maybe, because I know me, I mean, it came out yesterday afternoon and I didn't have time to read it before today.
I didn't mind, there was nothing else that stood out to me that I wouldn't have liked in the rest of it.
Yeah, I stopped at that sentence, and I, because, yeah, so much of what you wrote is really good. It's just, I just wanted to stay away from something controversial.
Right. So again, like in paragraphs, the streetscape should include attractive gathering places. That should be on its own, like drop down into a paragraph. That's what I'm saying is there's a lot of good stuff. It's just, there's so much that you need to have some space between it, so.
Where did you want me to split the
If
paragraph?
you start in the bottom, like in the next to last paragraph, because the last paragraph is showcase buildings in downtown are represented. Go up to, yes, streetscapes, I just make that a paragraph, okay. In general would be another paragraph.
Always learned that you need to have at least 3 sentences in a paragraph.
Okay,
That's what my English
Yeah,
professor told me years ago.
okay. But if in general, wider commercial corridors, that looks like it would be 3. So that's the next sentence or paragraph up. Yep, there. So do you see what I mean? When you're reading, when you're looking at it, it gives you that moment to better read and assimilate the information, because it tells me, oh, in general, wider commercial corridors warrant taller buildings. Where when it was in the body, I didn't see it as much.
Well, I guess the reason why I had it in the same paragraph is this is following on Randall Lorentz philosophy. So this, in general, wider commercial corridors warrant taller buildings. So that's his idea.
Yeah, no,
So
that's
that's
good.
why it should be above with this sentence, according to Randall Lorentz.
Okay, then take it to according to Randall and make that the paragraph.
Well, he also was talking about the outdoor room.
Yeah, you would still separate that because it's in front of according to Randall, because he's a prominent landscaper now, a site designer. So you give him the attention in the next paragraph. You could reference it at some point, but
Okay.
new construction, architecture, new buildings. Okay, I would put a paragraph, next one up on commercial and mixed use should be situated along the sidewalk edge and well proportioned for the human scale. Again, as you're reading this, it's suggesting, so it's bringing suggestions into the reader's eye, and it lets you start with that new thought. And I think then you can keep the rest of it the way it is. Yeah, I mean, what do you think when you read it now? Can you read it, Amy? I'm on scale. My eyes must be like going crazy. I'm like, oh, I can barely read it.
I made it bigger on my screen so I can read it, but I am not a grammar expert.
Yes, all right. But I just think it gives more attention to what you're trying to say by taking those breaths. I often wonder why they put those blue lines. What parks is parks? Why would they have something different?
Okay, do you want me to move on?
Yeah, did we move up to the rest of it, or how many paragraphs are above that whole section that's on the screen? Oh, okay. All right, I would go and I would put a paragraph where above the yellow plan on the planning process associated with the production. I would put that in a paragraph. So, yes. And I think that would help it. I don't think you have to do any more of that. Mark has a few things about the architecture. Okay? Is that all right?
So, you know, I'm certainly open to feedback on my choices of the buildings that I decided to showcase.
I love this 10 Church Street is great.
Okay, yeah, because I wanted to show how you can, so originally, of course, this was a mansion. And then it's a mixed use, commercial and residential structure now. And of course, this, I know there's a new storefront now. So I should probably replace this picture with the new storefront. I just really love their signs. I thought it was so cute.
Right.
So,
Yeah, see, I remember when the third picture was like a shed.
yes, I found a picture of it as a garage.
How
Yeah,
about putting them both, put both of them in? Like that's
Do
great.
you want me to put the historic
Yeah.
picture of it as a garage?
Yeah, why not? That shows what you can do, right? With your garage. And then that's kind of kitschy little country thing. Yeah, I
Where
like
now, is it similar items for sale?
I
Do you
haven't
know?
been in it yet, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I haven't been in it either.
well, they did have a ribbon cutting. They should do another one. Should do it like November, middle of November when people are thinking about Christmas shopping.
Are they gonna do the downtown stroll this year, do you know? Lisa, they used to have a downtown stroll around Christmas and even like a polar little bus. So they would highlight the downtown businesses, and that was fun with the tree lighting.
I like that personally. Unfortunately, we got more empty buildings still, so. Is
Mhm.
anything coming up with a coffee bean house, a coffee bean structure?
Brilla. Does she have any ideas, Lori Turbino?
Oh, it's gonna be a restaurant, so they've already started working on the interior fit out.
Oh, nice.
So I can't remember exactly what type of food. It's some sort of exotic food.
We're gonna have an international downtown. We have a French bistro, we have the Italian Taza, we have the Mediterranean. We can call ourselves the new North, but we're gonna be the international destination.
True.
But
And
we could make a play on it somehow.
I love this. I love before and after pictures. It's such
I love this one with the bicycle. So
yeah.
that was a fun one.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you can see the house next door, which is still standing.
Yeah.
So, so do you like this choice of a building?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The man
Yeah.
with the bicycle rides around town. We should get him and take a picture of the building now with the guy with the bike.
He still does it?
Yeah,
no, I think he died.
well, now if he died, it was recent because
No, the one that used to do it when I was a kid was the guy that owned the bicycle shop, and he's dead, long dead.
yeah, no. Now this guy was I watched him a couple of times downtown. I was going to follow him to find out where he was from, but it was so cool seeing this huge wheel just walking through it downtown. But I think that's wonderful. You know, that's part of what I like is that I like New England for this very reason, because this is a part of our history.
Yeah, and that's a nice small building that they did something special with. But
They really did.
Okay, so you like the historic photos?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
yeah, and I have some historic drawings and stuff like that. I did this for the Historical Society, some of their maps. I updated them during or cleaned them up, digitized them and stuff. The 1855 map, you know how that has a bunch of historic building drawings, line drawings on them.
Yep.
So I have those I can give you.
Okay, great.
Which includes includes the Gale House, so.
I got the Gale House, so I do have a historic picture of the Gale House, which I can add. I
Yeah, I'm
wasn't
pretty sure I
if you
do.
guys were gonna like the historic picture, so I didn't add it to this.
There's only one little typo on this,
Okay, where?
on the Gale House. The Chapinville General Store and the Gale General Store are two separate buildings.
Oh,
The
okay.
Chapinville one was over in the corner of Rice and Hudson.
So it's just Cyrus Gale's General Store?
Yeah, that's how it's known. That's what it says on the plaque there.
Okay.
Yeah, Chapinville is at the corner of Rice and Hudson.
Oh, okay.
And there was a store there, more like a company store.
Okay, so I can't see it, but the picture that's in the plaque would that picture be the one that you would use for the before?
I say I have the 1855 drawing from the map. That is pretty good. I could send you. I mean, we don't have to use any of these, if you don't like them.
Yeah, well, yeah, let's look at those and I think that I would like the one on the left as opposed to one on the right. And then if that's the general store, or was the general store the beige one,
No, the general store is one with the columns.
white one?
The beige one was his house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
one of his houses. He had
Yeah.
a couple of kids, so the house on the other side, there's at least 3 houses downtown that were in the Gale family.
Yeah. Yeah, I really I like the angle, I like the picture. And then you'd have then you'd have the before picture like you did with the other ones.
Yeah, and what I can do is I can just put all 3 pictures on the margin on the side.
Right.
So I'll try and find a historic picture that shows both of these structures.
Yeah,
So
if
I
you-
wanted to include both of them because they're the Habitat for Humanity project.
So I like it. I think it looks good.
Okay, cool.
Good.
All
Supplies.
right, so then
Yeah.
next on, I've got the Gale Library.
All right, I like the Gale Library, but I think you'll definitely need 3 because whether you could maybe get a
I have a historic picture of the library, so I'll add that.
yeah, it's the back. You just don't know what that look. Even though we know it's the library, you would never guess. You know, you need a side of the library that shows how it goes from the side to that.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the one on the town seal is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I mean I'm trying to think of the word. You know, a drone picture would be kind of cool because that could capture the whole library on the side to be able to catch, you know, the usage and everything. Because
you have a drone?
well, I might be able to get a drone.
Oh, do we have a budget? Because we can get a drone.
We don't have a budget, so if somebody can do a free drone photo, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I gave you some already. I mean, the one from Lala Java and the one at the dentist office. Those were.
I think Mitch has a drone.
Yeah, he does have a drone. So, but yeah, I think that I'd like to make a combination of that because you'd almost have to be there to understand it, and the reader might not be there.
Yeah, I can take a picture of the side. I was trying to get the entrance, the main entrance. So it's kind of a challenge, but I can I can take a bunch of photos and I'm sure one of them will be okay.
I know it's very hard because I've gone through the same problems.
We could probably find an elevation drawing of that.
Oh, that's true. That might be, yeah, that might be a cool way of doing it. I like that idea. Again, see, I mean, it's such a wonderful, see, for me, right? I mean, I don't have the time to do it right now, but what I would do, Lori, is on the picture that has the new owner, I would have to take the wires out in that picture.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
I know.
I can email it to you and you can do it for me.
Hours of work.
That's above my skill set.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should do that, because if we're gonna use that picture, I can lighten up some of the area, make it more, uh, not so backlit, but yeah, we'll talk about that picture. You can send me the JPEG and I'll.
Okay, so then we have 17 South Street.
I personally hate this building.
Oh, you're kidding. I love this building. I think it's so cute.
It looks like it's out of the Wild West.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's the flat roof. That flat.
But yeah, I also remember when it was Northborough Hardware with the bright red sign and everything, and it was kind of run down.
I'll
Yeah,
also remember in our design guidelines, we're talking about if you have a flat roof, you can do it as long as you have a decorative cornice.
right. Yeah,
So
Yeah.
this is the opposite. It's a pitched roof that is trying to look flat.
right. Well, I have to say though, it is a downtown. It's one we have in the downtown.
Oh,
Uh,
and it's very traditional of old downtowns, you know.
I mean, if I own that building, I'd put two black long planters in front of those two white areas where the awnings are hanging, and get
Yeah,
some,
that'd be cute, like window boxes.
like tall window boxes,
Hmm.
that would give some life to it, because it's in a hard location. You drive by it, you don't even notice it because you're trying to make sure you don't miss the curve. But
Yeah. They say it was probably built when the road was much narrower.
yeah, yeah, and it's a standalone. It's a cute building, right? Because they've made it look better, actually, I think.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, it would have a market in there or something, you know.
Right. Yeah, so it's an appealing building, but I'd make it a little bit more appealing.
Okay, well, I will be happy to send this along to you so you can doctor it up.
Put makeup on it. All right.
So that's pretty much all I have for the historic properties that I was showcasing. Would you rather-
What if we put the C'est La Vie?
Well, I think we should actually think about some more too. I mean, Sailor V is one, Cyrus Gale Jr.'s house on the corner of Main and Patty. That's a beautiful house. I mean, it's not as nice as it once was. I mean, we don't mention the White Cliffs. That's part of the battle between the Gales and the Westons. So it gets shut out all the time.
Right, and that could be a restaurant again at some point. But
So you want me to add C'est La Vie?
I would add C'est La Vie. I mean, that
I
should be.
think, why don't I send a bunch of the historical pictures that I have of these different places? I mean, because you had the Chapin Mansion too, which was a beautiful place that captures the whole shingled or Victorian era. Um, White Cliffs originally. The Gale Jr.'s house is beautiful, and
Yeah,
it's right downtown.
yeah. I think that's that will help with the flavor. And
I
when you.
was trying to pick properties that would go through site plan review. So if it's just a single family home, they won't come to site plan review. They don't have to comply with any design guidelines. So that was the one thing, that's why I don't showcase any single family homes.
Yeah, that makes sense then. But I mean, we do have the section. I'm sorry, I'm flipping through this. I can't find it, but you know, where you have the line drawings of the town hall and stuff like that.
Oh, you're
Maybe
talking
include
about
it
the
there.
historic section?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
that's
because
true.
when you're trying to pick up architectural styling features, they do have some nice ones there.
Okay. Just a second.
Trying to remember where that was.
It's in here somewhere.
I'll be right back.
It's in there somewhere. So yeah, if you want to send me those, I can substitute some of the pictures that are in there with the other ones. Oh, goodness, I should just look at my printed version.
Yeah, I'm looking at that and oh, here it is. Yeah, historical. So it's page 13.
You know what else I think would be interesting is to take Laurie Charbonneau's building that was Lowe's and look what it looked like and what she made it into. I think that's also a good example, don't you?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's probably a good example because it's current, and
Yeah.
it wasn't probably a super nice building, but she made it look better.
Yeah, she definitely improved it. So, and I had a picture of it somewhere, but I think
There's a cat's meow of that for sale on eBay right now, I noticed.
where?
On eBay, of the old Lowe's building.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. You gotta buy a set of 4 for, it's Chet's, Lowe's, a couple other things.
I wonder what, is she gonna add a sign or is she still thinking about it?
Yeah, I'm surprised that the sign hasn't gone up yet because we talked about it months ago. And I haven't seen a sign. In fact, I was kind of scratching my head. I have seen lights in there, but not much in the way of cars in the parking lot. So I'm unclear whether they're open or not.
I've walked by and I'm trying to peek in the window. It's hard to tell. Maybe I should have opened the door, see if they're open.
Maybe they just have weird hours. But yeah, I mean, since we're using this building in the beginning and the library and this building.
Yeah.
Maybe we should take out these pictures and put in others.
Yeah, I think you could even add those on the side, not the bottom one, obviously, because you've already got it, but you could add the bank and the library on the sides along with those pictures to kind of show that progression, because Mark's got some other pictures that are drawn like this, right? Or we could create some like this.
Yeah, they're similar. They're line drawings.
Yeah, so those line drawings, I think, are when you're looking at it, I enjoy them because they're more architecturals. You don't get lost in the landscaping necessarily, or the folklore of it. I do like that. I'd like to put more of those, and I like them on the sides. I think that's going to be the better way to do it, because then you can look in the middle and then go to the side and look at those photos, because stacking and trying to keep them level and everything else gets to be difficult with graphics. Right, Michelle?
I heard you take these out though, because it says Northborough buildings with historical significance. I don't know.
What? No, well, no, take it out. Just do the paragraph and set
Oh,
the
yeah.
book so that it's on both sides this way.
But I think Lori mentioned taking them out because they're in the beginning now.
Yeah, I did mention that. So you
Yeah,
want to
but
keep these drawings in?
well, hmm.
Beginning part's starting to get kind of big, although we love it. We want the developers to move on and say, okay, now this is what we have to do versus like a history lesson. Although
Yeah,
we do want to show the historical buildings. I don't know how many because we don't want it to go on for too long. Like now we're adding a lot of pages.
right.
Or have an appendix at the end where some of that gets put at the end so then they can start to read what they're, I don't know how many of them actually read the design guidelines, but so they can get into the nitty gritty of what they have to do.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, and I think that we do I like the Lowe's concept of what this is what it looked like. This is what it looks like now. That's more current. The white, certainly the white building with the awnings was great because it shows what it looks like now. I'd still like a lot of the Java and the dentist, because they did beautiful jobs. The architecture was beautiful in its current. Are those later on, or I didn't notice?
I don't have those. Well, this is pretty much all I have under historical. The dentist I know is somewhere else.
Yeah,
Between
I
now and the
can't
next
remember
meeting,
what page, but it's definitely in here.
okay,
between now and the next meeting, you could look through it and say,
yeah,
oh, I'd like to add this building. I think this is a great building.
but, okay, I agree.
Yeah, I'll send out everybody just a bunch of drawings that I have so you can see what the choices are that I have.
Mhm. Okay.
And
think
then
it's
I
just great.
added a new section on design, under the design guidelines for sustainable and resilient building practices.
Oops. Excited. Well. Install on-site renewable energy systems, solar.
I wish Dave made it because he had a lot to say previously about rain gardens. Like, you can see pros and cons, and it depends on the location mostly.
Yeah, it definitely depends on, we don't have a lot of space there. You know, I'm sorry to jump back, but I'm also thinking of the, on Hudson Street, that used to be, it's the brick building right next to the water, left side of the road, heading north.
Peppers?
Peppers. Peppers is a historic building that was now used for, I don't know if she's got a restaurant in there, but she certainly has the stuff. That again is one of the very, you don't think about it, but it's downtown, right? And it's a beautiful, they've done a lot of, a lot. When I went into the western part of Mass for one of those historical seminars, they had, and I think Peppers has this, which is why this whole thing came in my brain. They have the awnings that are made to either conduct water to go through it, or it's energy type of structure. It's not your standard, solar array of that, because I really don't think we want to start seeing solar arrays. And, Germany they actually make them in the bricks so that you don't notice all this square stuff. And I think that in saying that we want you to be, sustainable, yes, we all want that, but we have to be a little careful as to how we plan on that sustainability. And do you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to have a lot of large black squares in the area that you're going to be putting this in. It's just not.
I certainly would encourage it, like up at Northborough Crossing, any sort of big box retail, Walmart.
Where would you put
Yeah,
it? Would you put it
on the
behind
roof.
things on the roof? But then
Even
you,
the high school, they could, the schools are doing the rooftop solar. So I think that there are a lot of applications where we would benefit from doing solar. And that would be in keeping with the master plan. On a historic building, probably not gonna look that great, but a lot of the buildings are more modern looking, and we have so many strip malls, they could do rooftop solar.
Yes.
Amazon.
The building
Amazon.
across the street, Lisa, from Peppers actually has solar arrays on the roof, and you don't even notice them.
is it the warehouse?
Yeah, well, that blue building, that old factory, what was it?
Yeah, the old factory. Well, I think that's the thing, is I think, again, we're talking about design. So we like you to have it, but we don't want it to be we don't want it to detract from the streetscape or detract from the architecture. And
Right. Well, that's what parapets are for.
right. Okay. So I mean, that to me is something you want to just get a little bit of we're just letting you know, that just now you're sustainable. Oh, I'm sustainable. I have a solar array right in front of my building. You can let me have it now. Okay.
Like National Grid, they have that big canopy.
Yeah, well, I
with
love
solar
that.
panels on it.
I love that for the people to park under. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, somebody was telling me that's against our bylaws. I don't know if it's correct or not.
Amy would know.
I think
Can
so.
it
We
be
allow
solar?
canopies. No, we allow canopy solar.
Okay. Just a rumor then.
I mean, I have to go back and read it carefully, but I'm pretty sure. We definitely do. But pretty sure we definitely do.
So I
It's a
think
good
I made
sentence.
some I'm sorry, I made some additional changes through here, but it was so long ago, I can't even remember. I know I updated the references to include some of the things that I looked at, like the Rural by Design by Randall Laurent, New England Architectural Styles, some of the various Northborough documents, so that people could see. I ended up buying a couple of historic books with photos, so I made reference to those. So some of the historic photos I got from here.
All right, and as, I'm gonna get back to my pain in the ass thing of the Northborough, Massachusetts Downtown Revitalization Plan. I don't want that. I don't want that as a reference. I don't think that references what we really want.
Maybe just take the year out of that, so it's not referencing any particular one.
Well, then they're gonna ask me what I'm referencing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not published yet.
Yeah, I don't support it. I just think that, I don't think they did their job for us. Thank you.
Well, I don't think it was their fault. I think it was because changing the traffic was outside their scope. And it should not have been, because, we've had plans to fix the traffic and we couldn't do them because we'd have to take down buildings. Well, here they took down buildings, but didn't fix the traffic. So they contradict with each other, and I'm going back to the 70s on these.
So we did reach out to Mass DOT as part of that effort.
Yeah,
And we did do a traffic study, and they said that we could not eliminate any of the lanes to allow the on-street parking or to allow wider sidewalks.
well,
Because
but
the congestion would just be too terrible, and
a
Mass
lot of that is who
DOT
you
would
get
not
with the
allow that
DOT.
because they own Route 20.
Yeah, but a lot of that, I mean, if you look at what they did in Hudson, and stuff like that, they're definitely working with different DOT people.
I was just wondering, did they say you definitely couldn't, or when I remember the conversation from the meeting, MPIC, was it, we kind of had to look at the traffic and say, okay, the traffic got longer, this isn't what people want, so we're not gonna go forward with that. Was the Mass DOT person you talked to, was that definite, or was it Weston and Sampson who said they work with Mass DOT and they probably wouldn't allow it? Like that, I was just curious if it was actually someone at Mass DOT that said no, or it was Weston and Sampson who said they wouldn't recommend it because Mass DOT probably would say no. Like,
So the traffic engineer with Weston and Sampson said that they provided the information to Mass DOT and Mass DOT said no.
okay,
Yeah, but Mass DOT has made the recommendations to, going back years, to connect South Street and Church Street so that they put, into a regular intersection. And I
yeah,
think they used to swing everything up north, of course, before the common was there, and it was done up to the west side of where the intersection is now, down by, and then connect with Gale many years ago. So they have made those recommendations in the past. It's just, I remember Frank the barber talking about this stuff when I was a kid.
right,
All
yeah,
right, so maybe you guys can just, like I said, review it, put your track changes in, and then just email the documents to me separately. And then for the next meeting, I will do my best to combine all of your comments together into one cohesive document. So what I'm going to do, just so you're aware, the next version that you see of this is going to strip out all of the photos. So the track changes version isn't going to have the photos in it. The clean version, which won't have any track changes, is where the photos will reside. So go through the section, the version that I provided you with. And if there are pictures you don't like, mark those on the track changes version that you send back to me. And so if all of you hate certain photos, that'll be easy. We'll delete those photos.
Hate's a strong word.
And then
Yeah,
if all of you, you know, if there's maybe one of you or two of you that don't like certain photos, then we'll have a discussion about it at the next meeting.
Well,
yeah, I think we all have little pet peeves that we can vote against it, but it's only one vote.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah,
thank you for all your work on this, and it's great. And it was
Well,
good
I'm
to meet
glad that
again.
you like, I did agonize over that traditional New England character section because I myself have struggled to define it. So I'm happy that you like it because that was hard.
yeah,
So.
I think you did a great job. The more I see these pictures, like the yellow picture when it was Tomasetti's with the flowers and stuff, that could do be a before and after, because whatever that little cape was, it was sitting there. This is a perfect example of what you can make it look like. I love this for what they did to that building.
You couldn't even see the cape with all that invasive
Yeah,
landscaping had overgrown it.
it's just that to me is what, that's the artistry of taking something and making it look so enjoyable that you want to go there.
Right.
And that to me, again, that's how I figure economic development starts, is by creating a desire for you to go, just based on a picture. You don't necessarily, that's when advertising used to mean something, and oh, gee, that looks really lovely. It takes for me, it takes more of a designer to do something like that than to tear it down and just build something. And so, there were times, and I like the bottom one for Renovo, because it does emulate some of that traditional look. And even though it's a, sort of a strip piece, the landscaping is lovely. It's kept up all the time. I think that's one thing that, we want to try to, bolster people. It'd be great to go and, make a little, oh, this person won the award this month or this quarter for its appearance or something like that, that gives them another little layout that, okay, here you are. It's a little bit better than, going to a trade show and saying, okay, I'm at this trade show. What do you got for food? Okay, thanks, bye. That to me doesn't bring people into your building. It's how your building's situated, and how well you care about your building. It's like how well you care about yourself. It's that's the first thing people see. And I mean, just an aside, I wish we could take Chet's. I wish we could take Chet's and do just decorate it a little bit, put some trees around there. I mean, it's a great kitschy little place that could be huge. You could have your car shows down there and everything. But I think that's how, for me, that's how you invite more people in, by creating something that, like when you go to Hudson now and you walk downtown. I've gone there forever. I know those buildings, but because they've done so much to the, the facades and the roadways, the way they presented it, it's more exciting now. Plus they have an ice cream shop. Okay.
Yeah. So, moving on to the next part of the agenda, I had downtown revitalization zoning bylaw letter. That was added. I don't know if we have time to do it today, but that was added because when we talked about how we're going to do this downtown revitalization, we wanted to reach out to the businesses down there, and there were a lot of zoning enforcement issues. So it just in a nice way to say, this is what our zoning says. We'd love you if you could follow along. Like, I think we had a plan that we were going to go down, even, I think before Tim McNamara left, but he's leaving. Is today's last day or he's gone?
He's gone. His last day was Friday.
Oh, wow. So it just at some point to go down to the businesses and say, look, we're doing this downtown revitalization, and I'm sorry, but these signs are out of conformance.
Well,
Like, there's certain, I have pictures. There are certain buildings that have covered their windows with just ads, and they probably get them for free. They stick them up. But I took some pictures the other day where there are some places, even like Starbucks in Southborough, where I think they cover the windows so the sun doesn't shine in. Oh, some places, but they covered them with these pretty, it's like a wrap, and it makes it look like an outdoor scenic picture versus a million Coke signs. And I know we don't have wraps in our bylaws anywhere, but I guess it was something I wanted to talk.
I like that idea, and I think maybe in this letter, maybe we could incorporate what you talk about, the carrot on the stick. We're going to be having, highlighting the businesses that are starting to come into compliance, and we have to figure out the right words to put in so you don't offend somebody, but to give them that, you could get some, you could get an award. You have the ability to get an award if you do thus and so. So the letter could have that in it, to be more of that could be more of like the beginnings of it. Well, we're trying to, obviously we're doing, downtown revitalization, and we felt that having awards, an awards ceremony, whatever we want to try to create to make them feel good about themselves. And then say, so we'd love you to, participate. These are the compliance things, and maybe personalize each one. And these are the compliance that you're not in, or check off the stuff that has to be changed. Like I think some of it is that you have younger people managing. Every time a new manager comes in, I know I'm getting older, but they're all getting younger and younger and younger. So they get something like Coca-Cola may send them the ballad covers. Like, here's some ballad covers. Oh, we go out and they put them on. And then we go, you can't have ballad covers. You got to take them off. And then there's another new manager who comes on. He puts the cardboard Coca-Cola sign that's on the fence that doesn't belong to him, or on the wall that doesn't, or you know what I'm saying? So I don't know that the people that are actually on property are the ones who are making half the decisions on, compliance, because they don't even understand it. So we have to educate them. So I think the letter's good. And I think that, I'd be more than happy to help with that too, that you want to be able to say, we're trying to create, a boom in economic development, which benefits all of us, you especially, and in conformity, or bop, 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 you know what I'm saying? Just trying to make it so it's not like Bob coming in going, right? So that's my take on that.
Might even appreciate it. I don't know. It's funny because the Rich Tale, I wasn't part of it, but I talked to Gary and Julianne, and Gary Phillips went and did that strip of dirt on the side of Rich Tale. And he came out all the time. He was so excited. He's like, oh my gosh, it looks so good. Can you do over here? There's a strip along the liquor store. He's like, you think you could do this one next? No, like, I don't know. We'll see.
So
But they're like, do you think you could come out and start watering some too? Because I think Gary Phillips, like most of the summer, he went down there every day to weed and water. So it takes a while, takes work to get it you know, to
Uh,
survive.
so I know, Bob, well, Bob is the enforcer of the sign bylaw, and I know he's swamped with other issues, so he hasn't been able to send those letters. So do you want your names to be on the letter? Like Amy, you're the chair, as the,
well, how about just the design review team? You don't have to go and put names. You can do the design review team. And we could, like I said, maybe, excuse me, somebody's very bored right now. Oh, stay. We could create, make something that's not offensive that we bring in, and then make it so that we ask the individual who's managing the building, like Mobile Oil, the mobile gas station. I know that that's a younger individual that's manning the store, so to speak, that we get the corporate address. so that we can bring it to corporate. Because if it stops at the person who's at the cash register, it's not gonna go anywhere. I mean, I know the days when 99-cent coffees were popular at Cumbies, I was there all the time, and I'd come in and go, oh, look at this, oh, new person at the register, all the time. So without corporate knowing, it's really not gonna be as effective. And there's a lot more corporate ownership than there is just mom and pop now.
My experience with, like, for example, CVS, sending things to corporate CVS go into a black hole and, you know, nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
So if you want implementation, you have to either go to the store proprietor or the store manager.
Well, like, there's nothing wrong with duplicating either. So you always go to the first person that you speak, but if there's duplication. Because quite frankly, CVS has fallen down on their landscaping a lot. Like the area when you walk in the front door is all dirt now. There's nothing there. I mean, they get a lot of activity, but the trees aren't in great shape. They're not keeping up with the property. And that's another problem that a lot of places are starting to do. You know?
Julianne and I talked to that manager, and he was really good. He loved landscaping, surprisingly, and he wanted to do it all, but he said he had no budget. He was going to use the downtown revitalization as an excuse to reach out to corporate and ask for a bigger budget. But maybe we'll go down and talk to him again and see if he got anywhere. And maybe we could write him a letter that he could give to corporate and say, you know, they're pushing this downtown revitalization. I need a bigger budget for landscaping.
Yeah,
But you know, we should also look back at the original site plan because we always say that, you know, the plantings have to stay. I wonder what plantings were on that site plan at CVS because we might be able to say, you know, you got to put these back in. This is what you proposed when you came to town.
all right. Well, I think that's a good idea. I like it. I don't mind putting.
So do you
Alright.
folks want to come up with a template of letters?
All
Yeah,
right.
I kind of started one so I could send it to you, Lori, and then we could share it with the group for the next meeting. It's just the very beginnings. It was just ideas. Because I've had it on the agenda for a while.
Okay. Well, I think
Um,
I'll work with you, Amy, and we'll put something together. Maybe Mark can do something too with it. All right. And that takes a load off of Bob a little bit.
Great. The next on the agenda, the minutes from July 18th. I had some changes and they were sent out to everybody. Did anybody else have any changes to the minutes from July?
I had just a small one. I just have to find it. I printed all this out myself last night. I want you to know.
I was expecting somebody to say, please print it for me. Amy, you got your package, I saw.
Yes, she did.
Hey, Mark, if you want me to print it for you, I'd be happy to do so.
Oh, here it is. Here it
And
is.
I'd like I was thinking the downtown revitalization plan. Were some of those ever printed out? I never got a printout. I had a draft of the downtown revitalization plan, but I never got a final copy.
Yeah, I can't remember if we have extras, but certainly we can print it out and give it to you. So no problem. Just give us a day or two to do that.
Oh yeah, no rush.
If anybody else wants a copy, we can. do
Yeah, I don't even think I saw a file that showed them. I was just thinking, don't go to CVS and have that in your hand. Did the final version of it get rid of them?
Right? Right?
Yeah, it was more, yeah, I mean, they just put boxes like squares and rectangles, so it was just for visual purposes. Okay, so Mark, you want a copy? Amy, you want a copy?
Yeah.
Lisa, do you need a copy?
I'm all set. I had one. Actually, I had two and I brought one back. It was I left it at the Selectman office,
Okay.
so it may still be around, kicking around there.
And Mark, did you need a copy of the latest draft design guidelines?
No, I printed those.
All right. Very good.
All right,
Okay.
so I do have a couple of 1 minute, one correction on the minutes. And then we could what, vote for it amended? Is that how you do it?
Yep.
So, oh, all right, we'll do the minutes. Got to talk about the sign too, don't we? On the second page, the line above, approval of meeting minutes from 5/9 to 6/14. And then they have the motion, so it's the sentence above that. It says Mrs. Maselli shared images of sign samples she was considering for municipal use. So I thought what we had done when we passed it around is we picked one. And that one, I think we should probably say that we picked one. I still have the pages here. I know it was the white sign. It was just, it was kind of the curve, and I can show it to you in a second. So I would put in the language, I would put, oh, how the heck did I write this? I've gotten two different things. Hold on, just let me get something. Ms. Maselli shared images of sign samples to be considered for municipal use. It was agreed to for shape and color for municipal buildings where the lettering could be different. The letter color would be different. I'm saying it wrong. Remember, we talked about, okay, how do we make the signs different? If you wanted to make them a little bit different, and we could do blue letters for the police department and, green letters for the library, or whatever the department was that we were going to put it on, that color could change. So it doesn't have to be all white with blue or all white with red or all white with green. And if I have my file, which I hope I do. Listen.
So maybe I can read this back and you can tell me if
Uh-oh.
this is what you mean.
Uh-oh.
Ms. Maselli shared images of sign samples to be considered for municipal use. The committee chose a specific style and shape, but the colors would vary depending upon the use.
The letter colors.
Okay.
That sounds, you did good. A lot better than what I was saying. But you got it. Good job. All right. Where's my thing? It's in a file folder. If you give me a second, I can go find it. Do we need to produce that, or we just know that? Because
What
this
are
is
you talking about?
this is just for minutes, right? The signs, remember,
Oh, okay.
I can show you what we looked at if you want to, but
It's up
yes.
to you. Do you want to, if it's just for the minutes, maybe you don't have to, and we
then
can
what-
talk about it at the next meeting.
Okay.
It's up to you.
I think what I would like to do is talk about it at the next meeting so that we can write a letter to the select board to tell them this is what we're hoping to do with kind of creating that municipal sign.
Okay. So maybe, Michelle, for the next agenda, can you add the municipal sign discussion?
Yes.
Thanks. All right. Any more changes for the minutes?
I think you, in your changes, Amy, Ms. Pereski, I think you meant thoughts.
Okay. I don't have it open in front of me.
You said though, Ms. Pereski, though, that wayfinding and signage should be under the purview of the design review
Oh,
committee
okay.
and
Yep.
not the MPAC. Small typo.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay,
Oh, Lisa's got her paper.
yes, that's the one we picked. We'll check on there. So, I would make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of July 18th
I'll second it.
as amended. Right? That's how we
Yeah.
do it.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, Lisa Maselli,
Aye.
Mark McManamy,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, so minutes have been approved. Okay. Sounds like our next meeting will be. It's the second, it'd be oh my gosh, November. No, I almost said September, November 14th.
Oh, my birthday.
It is your birthday?
I know.
Do you mind meeting on your birthday? We can all go out for lunch after.
Walker. I don't know if I can do it.
Oh, you might have plans?
Yeah, maybe. I
Right.
don't know, early in the morning. My birthday will be no sooner than 9.
Right. Well, if you want to do it on Wednesday again and that works out for everybody, we could do it November 13th. I don't know if that's harder. If you have plans, if you don't have plans, we can all meet on your birthday.
Well, you're gonna bring me a cake and some party goodies?
We could.
Okay.
So just,
What would you like, Mark? You better Wednesday, better Thursday? Doesn't matter.
That's all the same to me, I think.
Okay. I'll just say, yeah, let's do.
I don't have my iPad with my calendar anymore.
Oh.
I
That's
should have laughed. That's horrible.
all right, so I'm putting down the 14th at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
In person, right?
Well, yeah, because I have a cake.
Oh,
Hey,
Sounds
donuts
good.
would be
virtual
fine.
cake.
Donuts would be fine, that's true.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn? Thanks for coming, everybody.
Oh, motion to adjourn.
I'll
Still
second
didn't
it.
get to meet
Oh.
Dave.
Can I just request that you send me your track changes version by, say, the 7th of November? So that'll give me a couple of days. Well, actually, if you could, a week in advance, so the 6th of November. And then I'll try and incorporate your changes together and send it out the Friday before.
That sounds good. I thought you were gonna say by this Friday. I was like, oh my gosh.
You're gonna send me pictures? Will you send me, Michelle, send me a couple of those pictures, the one with black awnings on South Street? Remember, I was gonna take out the wires?
Oh, I'll send those to you. I have them on my
So
camera.
both of those pictures.
Okay,
Clean up the other one too.
thank you.
All right, so the motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, we did a motion.
Oh, sorry, you're right. I'd leave it open again. Lisa Maselli,
Aye.
Mark McMenamy,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Have a good day.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.